you get a notification that your automated integration suite failed on staging. So you pause whatever you are doing, you stash your changes, and you start to get into it. And so you're digging into the logs, you're checking the stack trace, checking the database, inspecting the network tab, and an hour goes by. And then you discover the truth. The application code wasn't ever broken. It's just that someone manually ran a script that wiped the entire staging database, or there was a problem with the third-party payment sandbox, or an environment variable got wiped or replaced during a deploy that took place 2 hours ago. So this kind of sounds familiar, right? And that's because every software team buys into the very same kind of lie. That if we build an environment that mirrors our production, we'll be able to catch all the problems and bugs before the end users ever see them. And so we spend thousands of dollars on staging infrastructure, burn engineering weeks on maintaining mock data, and delay deployments waiting for staging to give us the green light to actually go. Yet, staging is almost always broken, and pretending it isn't is actively burning your delivery speed. So let's address the core staging promise, and that is the environment parity. The idea that staging matches production in every way that matters. The thing is, it doesn't, and until you have infinite infrastructure budget, it never will. Because production isn't just code living on a server, it's an actual living, breathing, so to say, ecosystem. It has millions of dirty historical rows of data that haven't been maintained over the years. It has unpredictable traffic spikes and some race conditions triggered by actual network latency problems. It has edge cases generated by actual human behavior. And having all of this in mind, staging, on the other hand, is a sterile kind of ghost town. Your staging database is either some kind of a tiny seed file with 3 test users named test user 1, test user 2, and test user 3, or it's an already obsolete snapshot of something resembling production that is already out of sync with the current schema changes. You don't have production traffic, you don't have production hardware scale, and you certainly, most certainly, don't have production network dynamics. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that staging is to production what a bathtub is to an ocean. Like, you can swim in both of them and pretend that once you're feeling safe in one, you're ready for the other. But actually, even though both of these are bodies of water, they have kind of substantial differences between. And so even if you manage to somehow perfectly mirror your own backend services between staging and production, no application nowadays is living in a vacuum. Because modern software engineering relies heavily on third-party integrations. Stuff like payment gateways, identity providers, messaging APIs, or analytics tools. And how do those services behave in staging? They give you sandboxes. And third-party sandboxes are notoriously bad. Stripe sandboxes don't really simulate real-world code declining latency that well. Authentication providers change rate limits between sandbox and production environments. Half the time, external staging APIs are either down, unmaintained, or return hard-coded mock data that aids in masking actual failures. And when your staging pipeline fails because a third-party sandbox returns a 500 error, your engineers aren't verifying software quality. They are acting as kind of a unpaid sysadmin for someone else's software. And the worst part about staging isn't even wasted money or flaky tests. It's this psychological trap, because having a staging environment kind of gives you this false sense of security. When a feature passes on staging, everyone relaxes. The ticket gets moved to ready to deploy, everything gets stamped, and the code gets pushed. And then 10 minutes after going to production, everything breaks down because a real world user had a special character somewhere in the profile, and that case didn't exist in your staging seed data. And because teams rely so heavily on staging as kind of a gatekeeper and a safeguard, they stop investing in tools that actually warrant production quality. They deploy massive monolithic release packages once every 2 weeks instead of deploying continuously with small changes. And that is a direct consequence of the staging problem, because nobody wants to go through the hassle of having a staging sign-off every day or twice a day. That pipeline is so slow that while everyone feels like it provides some kind of security, at the same time, nobody kind of wants to go through that. And so relying on staging encourages big bang releases, and big bang releases are where the big bang outages come from. So what's the alternative? Do we just push unverified code into production happily ever after and kind of have our fingers crossed that users won't leave us? Of course not. Senior engineering teams do this by employing one fundamental truth, that production is the only environment that matters in the end. Instead of trying to prevent every possible failure in a fake environment, they build architectures so that failing in production is safe and invisible. First, decouple deployment from release using feature flags. You deploy code to production continuously, but you have it hidden behind a toggle. The code runs in real databases, connects to real third-party services, interacts with real APIs, but actually works only for the internal users or a small fraction of your user base. Second, use canary deployments. Instead of rolling out everything to 100% of users every time, roll out to 1%. And use that 1% of your live traffic to actually monitor errors, to monitor memory usage or latency. And if anything looks off, automatically route the traffic to the old version, which you can do within seconds. Next, shift your focus from pre-release testing to observability. Detailed telemetry, structured logging, automated synthetic checks running continuously in production, all of these will catch real anomalies way faster than any kind of an automated suite running in staging would. Of course, leave the quick unit and contract tests in your CI to catch the most obvious problems early, but after that, stop treating staging like kind of a magic safety seal. Because staging environment isn't some kind of a magical decontamination chamber. It's more of a safety blanket for teams that don't really trust their own deployment mechanisms. If your team is spending more time hunting down and tracking and fixing staging setup issues than actually hunting down the bugs that stem from it, maybe it's time to reevaluate your politics regarding the staging environment. And I'm curious, so please let me know down in the comments, how much time does your team actually spend trying to keep your staging environment on life support? And how is staging even treated in your organization? Is it the safety net? Is it the magical decontamination chamber? Or is it just something to kind of have a place which we can blame if something goes wrong? Either way, subscribe to the channel for more straight shooting takes on engineering reality, and I really recommend you to take a look at all the other videos I have in the catalog here on Testosterone YouTube. And until the next video, please remember to keep on rocking.